Hey guys, welcome back to another music review, and today I've got some cool bands. Actually, I researched these guys a long time ago, and I never got around to doing the video. And you see, I have my tank top on because it's really kind of weird outside. And last night was really hot, now it's kind of cold. So I'm probably gonna record this video and go get another shirt on before I record anything else. But you can see my tattoo in this one. So, um, and we'll talk more about that tattoo in a future video. I'm going to start doing a series on my Brad Tragic Music page, and that's exactly what the channel is called, Brad Tragic Music. And I'm going to do a series on basically how I got into wanting to sing and things like that, and kind of tell you what happened and kind of where I'm at on that. So there's going to be a series that's going to be starting over there, and basically, kind of just divulge everything about me and why I'm not doing it currently and stuff like that. I mean, it's really no big deal. The end game basically it means that I don't even really have a guitar right now. I got towed with the van that I lost recently. So a lot of things going on in my life kind of rattle in my brain. But today we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Bobaflex and we're here to talk about Sevendust. Um, but yeah, let's do this thing. Let's talk about Bobaflex real quick. So Bobaflex is a band that um, I didn't think it was going to be that big, to be honest. I thought, this is what happened. This is what happened. So I lived in Muncie for a spell because a lot of crap happened to me. And I'll probably divulge that in my Bradgetic music or maybe in the vlogs. I'll tell that story about what exactly happened because I'm gonna get personal on this channel. I'm gonna let you guys know what happened to me in my life. And short story is that I met my wife. My wife basically missed me, and she wanted to be with me, and she came to Muncie. She, came to live with me. But a little bit before that, before we decided to get together, um, I went and seen a show at this place called Doc's in Muncie, and I don't know if Doc's is still together. If it is, I don't think it is anymore. I think the ownership was bought or somebody bought the place. I think it was the bar right next to it, um, and they bought it out. But when it was Doc's, I went to a lot of shows there, and Bobaflex actually played a show with a band that my mom kind of knew members of. I don't think she knew originally until I was like really hyped on that show and I told her about it. And she was probably telling her friends that I was all excited when I went to the show because Bobaflex was there and they were an awesome band. Um, but there was a band called Sledge, and then that's who I went for because I heard stuff from them, and I think I think they might have come to my like a yard sale I was having at Muncie when I was trying to make a little money and stuff, and I think somebody came there and I was selling like Pantera CDs and stuff like that. And it may have been somebody that was staying next door that told me about the concert that was going on. And somehow I found out about it, and that's kind of what started me on this whole thing about wanting to go to Docs a lot, because I became very comfortable going there, and I went by myself to go to the show. Um, but yeah, Boba Flex was also there. I think I tried to get my friend to go, but he didn't show up. Anyways, um, but I went to the show, and Boba Flex was just a bonus because I didn't really know who they were. Um, I don't think they had blown up at all. Like I think they probably were starting to. I just didn't realize it because I think they're from like Ohio or Illinois or something. I didn't really look it up, but I'm thinking that's where they're. At least that's where I thought they're from. They're from the Midwest, I think. I believe. I could be wrong about that, but they kind of blew up like really quickly because I seen them at the show, um, and then all of a sudden I hear like a year later, I believe this is when it happened. They were going to go on the Megadeth, the Gigantor. I think the very first outing of Gigantor. I don't think there was another outing before that. I think it was the first time they did their big tour, and I think they went back once, and I think they only had it twice, and I think it was done. I don't know if it's still going on today. To be honest, I don't keep up on festivals or concerts anymore. When I used to get the Metal Edge magazine and stuff like that all the time, I used to keep up with that, but I don't keep up with that anymore. But Bobaflex was on it, and I'm like, whoa, they're kind of becoming something here. Um, but the sad thing about it is, for some reason, this nobody, it hasn't clicked with anybody. People haven't caught on to Bobaflex being super good. So if you haven't checked out Bobaflex, I don't know what you're waiting on. This band is amazing. I don't know why they aren't super popular. I think if they would have came out around the time Limp Bizkit like switched to mainstream, they could have been the scapegoat instead of people continuing to listen to Limp Bizkit. I think Bobaflex could have been, but they came out after that, like way after that. So when Limp Bizkit basically disappeared. So they didn't really get discovered by a lot of people, and the internet had already happened. So they were kind of, and at that time, people weren't really, I want to say, social media hadn't totally blown up at that point. It hadn't really blown up at that point. So Bobaflex was kind of under the radar. So I'm still not sure what's going on, but they're still going. Bobaflex is still going. They still produce awesome albums. I just heard, I think the last single they came out with. I didn't write any of their singles down, but let me tell you right now, I don't have to mention any singles of Bobaflex because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go to listen to almost any of their songs, first of all, if you go to Spotify. If you never gone on Spotify, I don't know what you're waiting on. It's a free app. They play ads, but I mean, you can listen to like 3 or 4 or 5 songs before they even give you an ad sometimes. I know some nights, like, I don't even listen to sometimes full songs. I'm just checking audio and see if they're really cool. But, and sometimes they don't give you an ad for that for a while. But if you listen to a full song, I think like 2 or 3 times in a row, they'll give you an ad or something like that. I don't remember what the ratio is, but um, they usually let it go for a while, and then they give you like 2 or 3 ads in a row, and whatever. But Bobaflex has such a great how you say that, discography that I don't need to say any songs. Like all the hit songs on Spotify, if you go and listen to the top songs on Spotify, like all of them are amazing. And actually, I had a CD, and I think I got rid of it. Um, and it's actually really really old. I had the one of the originals before they got signed. They were making, or I don't know if they were signed at the time. I don't think it was. I think it was something from like a small label, and then they got signed to a bigger label. But I got rid of that album. I'm so stupid for that. But they really haven't blown up, so I guess I'm really not that stupid. But I think they will one day. They'll have a single that's going to blow up probably. And they're not like super young, but they're still young. Like they still got time, man. They're going to be around for a while. I just hope they don't get into drugs really bad. That's the only thing I'm worried about because they do kind of party. It seems like in their videos they talk about drugs a lot, and I'm just hoping that they don't go down that road. I think they just do it because I do think I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to claim things that aren't real, but it seems to me that they're smarter than that. But you never know. You never know in a rock and roll lifestyle. Like people might go down that road because they get bored or they're not attaining the success that they want. And this shirt really looks weird in the video. I'm probably not even gonna watch it. Wear a muscle shirt in a video again. Anyway, but Bobaflex definitely worth checking out. And they had 2 singers when I went and seen them, which I was so hype about that because I like the whole kind of rap core kind of thing. And they didn't really do that. So here's the ultimate question that I haven't really said yet. What kind of music are they? Well, they're basically hard rock, and they do a lot of fast talking. So if you can imagine kind of taking Mudvayne and kind of making it a little bit less heavy on the screaming and stuff, because they do scream at times, but they don't do a lot of it. It's kind of more of like a hard rock vibe, but sometimes they get kind of metally. So it's kind of an odd kind of collection. It's kind of hard to describe them. You just have to go check them out. But they have a song called I think it's called Bury Your Guns, Bury All Your Guns, something like that. It's really really good. It is super good. Oh my God, that song it'll get stuck in your head. But they also have a song called Medicine, so Take Your Medicine, whatever what song is, and it's really good. Mama Don't Take My Drugs Away. That's super awesome. I mean, trying to think of another one. I think Bad Man was one off like 3 albums ago, and it was okay, but it wasn't that great. They have a new single out. It's really good. I just can't think of the name right now. But they're one of the bands that I'll go to and I'll listen to one night, and I'll just turn on shuffle, and just listen to because I love them to death. And I got to see them before they blew up, so I'm kind of happy for that. They're not from Indiana, I don't believe, but they're from. I think they're from. I still think they're from the Midwest, from what I read. Um, maybe I'll talk about it in a vlog later on. I'll figure out where they came from. But yeah, check out Bobaflex. 10 minutes into the video, I'm still talking about Bobaflex. That should tell you how much I love them. I may do a whole discography on them one time, but I know they have a lot of albums out, so I can't really do that. But they had some problems with lineup changes. The second singer I'm talking about, I think the second singer was in. He kind of got out before they got big. For some reason, I don't know what. I think they might have had one album with him, but then he left, and I don't. People are weird. Like, if you sign a big record deal, why would one of your members leave? That just sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. Some people may not want to do the whole traveling thing and stuff like that, but if you're making mad money, why are you going to leave? If you got into this business, and I think that's why when you start looking for a band, you have to put, are you committed? It does make sense. And if you're not committed, then why are you touring the world with people, going to local shows in a bunch of towns where you're not from? And then you're gonna not sign when you get signed by a bigger record label. Like, I don't understand that, but whatever, whatever. Each their own. I don't know what they were going through, but I just doesn't this doesn't make sense to me. And tons of bands have done that, or they start to get bigger than what they were and then they can't handle it. Whatever. This band coming up had some problems too, but they lost some good members. Sevendust. Now, Sevendust is a band that I think people either like them or hate them. They're kind of a band that gets thrown up in the air, and there could be a simple reason for this because people in the metal community, I don't think that they're racist per se, but some people may be turned off by his voice, and that's Lejean, the lead singer of Sevendust. Um, he kind of sings when he sings. He sings. He like you can tell legitimately that he is black, and you can tell that he kind of has kind of an R&B kind of rockish voice and that's how he sings, and it's kind of a unique thing. Like when you hear that voice, you know it's Lejean from Sevendust, which is really cool. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. But he did some hard rock. He can do hard rock, and when he does it, he rocks it. He can scream. He can do that stuff. But I think he has another guy that does the screaming too at times, so it may not even be him. But if you want to go back and see or hear some of their older songs, their older songs are like really really heavy, and they're awesome. They're still good now, but in my opinion, they kind of some bands they tend to not have creativity anymore. It seems to me like after they've had so many albums, sometimes they just fall off and they can't create any new kind of fresh sounding stuff. You know, and a good example is Slipknot is that they continue to come out with songs that are heavy, but they have catchy things, and where they might still sound like Slipknot, they have a unique rhythm to the song so that or a unique melody so that every song is a hit machine, basically. And even Bobaflex, like their songs, yeah, they may all kind of sound the same and kind of have the same kind of rhythm, but they have a different sound to them each time, and they're really good. Seven does it seems like every song, like every album, sounds like the last album. They just switch the tracks around, and the names are different. Like that's what it seems like to me. Like they kind of fall off, and that's why I'm not really a fan anymore. Is because they don't really have like one. Their heavy songs just have no. There's nothing catchy about them. And that's kind of what it is. They don't have any hooks anymore. They lost their hooks. And that's the problem with Sevendust, I think, nowadays. So, but they have some good songs. They have a song called Black. No pun intended. I didn't say that first for no reason. Anyway, um, Enemy, Angel's Son is a really great ballad about Len Straight from Snot. If you haven't heard that song, it's really, really good. It's all straight up soundtrack. It's probably on the Greatest Hits album, I think, on, yeah. on Spotify. It's probably on the one of the greatest hits. Waffle. Don't ask me why it's called Waffle. I have no idea why it's called Waffle. It's spelled like that. It's nothing about waffles. It's not a comedy song. It's a heavy song. I don't understand. I don't understand. I never did understand. But some of this is really, really good. The first album, and I liked Seasons was the album that kind of changed. I bought that album. It came with a bonus DVD. I remember this very, very, very distinctly because I was so disappointed when I got the album. It is because there was three songs on there that I thought were halfway decent, and I was so disappointed. Like the whole album was horrible. It was the last album with I think not Clint Lowry. Yeah, I think Clint Lowry was the one that left, and I think he went to join some other band, and I don't think they made it big. So I don't know. Maybe he came back now. I don't really know. Um, but he left the band. Uh, I could be wrong on that. That's the only member of the band I can remember though, besides LeJean. So then I'm thinking that's why. But he did a lot of singing in Sevendust as well, backup. And the other guy, I think the bassist, I think he did a lot of backup singing. But they got another guy to come in, and he's just as good. So, um, but the other guy just had like you're used to seeing him with Sevendust. But yeah, awesome two bands to check out. But Seasons seems like the album that just killed them for me. Like they just because the album before that wasn't that great either, and I wasn't really a huge fan. It had Angel Sun on it, but that did in Praise and like one other song, but it had only three hits as well. So when I used to buy albums like that, and two times in a row, the album was just really a letdown. Like that made me not want to buy any more albums from that band anymore because it didn't mean like it was worth it. Like why take my time to go and buy your album when you're not putting any time into making a great album, and that's what kind of sucked around that time is because I would buy tons of CDs, man. I had a huge CD collection at one point, and a lot of them were just ripped because I would buy the CD, rip it if I could, sell the CD, make my money back, go buy other CDs because I would do that like numerous times. And so this is one of those where I kept a lot of their CDs because one, they were one of the bands that actually started putting stuff on their albums so you can't rip the CD, so it sucked. And that's another reason why I stopped buying their albums as well because we won't go into that. But at the time, I felt it was really dumb. Anyways, but yeah, those two bands, Bobaflex, Sevendust, definitely worth checking out. If you've never heard of these guys, oh my God, will your mind be blown so much if you've never heard of these people? I'm going to put them in the title above, of course. And of course, down below, I always put Brad talks about Bobaflex and Sevendust. I'll put them down there. And as I mentioned, Black, Enemy, Angel Sun, Waffle, those four songs, definitely worth checking out. Sevendust, Bobaflex, there's tons of songs, dude. Just listen to the hits on Spotify or, look on YouTube. I'm sure stuff will come up with Bobaflex in it. I believe they have an official Vivo channel. Really, really good stuff. Oh my God. Like, so amazing, And if you listen to one song and you don't like it, go down to the comments and see what people are saying, what songs, other songs to check out, because they'll probably give you a better song if it's a crappy song, because they do have some songs where I'm just like, the song is okay, but it's not that great. Bobaflex has better songs. So yeah, I talked almost 20 minutes on these two bands. So that should tell you something that I really do like. And I think that's a huge thing on this channel. Like, if you see me go on more than 10 minutes about two bands, I really got into those two bands and I really know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you my note. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. That's my notes. Those are everything that I had about these two bands. All the other stuff, in my noggin. It's all in my noggin. All in my noggin. I know these two bands. So if you haven't checked out Bobaflex or sorry, I forgot for a moment. Sevendust. You go check them out. If you haven't checked them out yet, definitely give them a listen. They're pretty good. Like I said, Sevendust, they fell off the wagon after about the fourth album, but they still continue to put out stuff, and I still listen to them because I know they're good. I'm just waiting for them to come back. And their last album wasn't too bad. Or actually, their newer album, if you go on Spotify, their newer album that just got released, I think either last year or just at the beginning of this year, was not bad. I'm actually like, if I was still buying CDs, I would buy that, but I don't buy CDs much anymore. Um, but if I had a car and a CD player and I rocked it my own way, I would probably buy the newer CD of Seven Dust because I think it's actually worth it. I think it's pretty good. Um, it's pretty good songs on there, and they're actually doing some heavy stuff, which I was so excited when I listened to the album. Like, oh, thank God, they went back to a little bit of hard rock and metal stuff. Because I'm like, geez. Because I mean, when they first started, when Seven Dust first started, it was when the Strangeland movie came out, and I think that was one of the first times I seen them. And around that time, Kid Rock was doing still like the metalish stuff. So that tells you the time frame of when Seven Dust came out. They've been out a long, long, long time. Seven Dust has. Bobaflex, 10 years? 10 years maybe? Bobaflex has been going. Seven Dust, a while. A while. Probably close to 20 years, dude. So they're getting up there. And I remember seeing, I think, a recent picture of LeJean, the singer, and I'm like, dude, that guy's getting old, but he still doesn't really look that old. But you can tell he's a little old. I think he's got starting to get wrinkles up in his face. You can tell a little bit. When the hard rockers get like old, you can tell because like there's like wrinkles like under their eyes, really kind of bad, and wrinkles kind of like over here, and so like I don't know, it's just weird to explain. Like, have you ever seen the guys from like Motley Crue and stuff like that? You kind of know what I'm talking about. Where even because may have a little bit of money, they may go get a little bit of plastic surgery, but you can just tell because they all look kind of the same, or they just look grizzled as a metal veteran, you know. But anyways, these two bands are awesome. You should definitely give them a chance. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and keep rocking, and I'm going to go change this shirt before the next video I record. Good God. We'll do this again. I know I look pretty in it, but anyway, tattoo. Later.